This is a fairly
Morning, Peter.
good and thoughtful decision from Peter Dutton. I'm sure it didn't take him long to realise that it was the right way to go.
I think it is the right decision. I think you always, it's important that we address the findings of the Brereton inquiry, and we do so seriously and, with due process and proper legal protections, and we hold those responsible accountable. But I think the decision earlier looked like it was an act of collective punishment, that all of the many thousands of Australians who served in Afghanistan, some 39,000 of them, overwhelmingly with great distinction and honour, were having their reputation tarnished by the unfortunate and regrettable actions of a few. And I think what Peter Dutton has done here is correct that.
Yeah, it was an overreach, wasn't it? A knee-jerk reaction, if you like.
Look, I've got the highest of respect for the CDF, and I can understand why he felt the need to respond in that way at the time this was announced. But I think with some time to reflect, I think a lot of us realised that, and we heard the individual circumstances, and veterans reacted, of course, and there's a lot of Australians who've got the Meritorious Citation Award and who've lost their lives. We've lost 41 people in Afghanistan over that 20-year campaign, and it would be very regrettable, I think, if we were to tarnish their reputation because of acts that they weren't themselves involved with. So I think this is what's been addressed here today.
Yeah, and fair enough too that if someone is found guilty of a war crime, then they of course lose that medal.
Absolutely, and that's how this should work. That there should be due process, there should be the presumption of innocence, there should be the full protections of the rule of law, just as any of us would want if we're in a similar situation, having been accused of something. We'd want to make sure that we have a chance to acquit our names before we're punished.
Yep, let's go to the travel bubble that opens up with New Zealand today, Dave. How's your passport looking these days? Has it got cobwebs in it like all of us?
I'm not even sure where it is these days, to be honest, Peter. I just finished moving house, and I think it's in a box somewhere. But to be honest, I actually haven't been interstate, I don't think, in a year's time, other than to the ACT. So I really haven't travelled at all. But it's quite exciting. I mean, I've heard more planes in the air over the weekend, as I'm sure many of us in Sydney have, and I've seen the photos of people at the airport greeting relatives from New Zealand. I think it's really exciting to see that some travel is resuming, and I think the number of flights that we've scheduled to New Zealand, the commercial carriers, show that there's a huge pent-up demand for Australians to visit and travel again, like we're so used to doing, where we're a very travel-oriented people. We spend a lot of time going overseas and living overseas, and so the past year and a bit in Australia has been quite unusual for a whole lot of people, and it's nice to see we're taking the first steps back now towards some normalcy. Yeah,
but they are delicate steps, aren't they, Dave? I mean, people would be forgiven for treating this very cautiously, knowing that if they do book a trip to New Zealand and then 1 or 2 cases emerge, then all of a sudden the bubble burst and then it's off again. They've got to scurry back home.
They are delicate and tentative steps, and the unfortunate truth is they will have to be reversible. That is, if there is a COVID outbreak, if there are concerns, we will have to wind back these easing